Welcome back to the Auto Insider, where you come to find out what's new, what's hot, and what's not in the automotive industry. This week we have the 2022 Subaru Forester. This Forester has the Wilderness package on it. There's a couple of different drive modes, one with hill descent and with a rock climbing type mode to it. Not going to be in the line of say a Jeep or something of that nature, but it does prove to be a little bit better off-road than your standard symmetrical all-wheel drive. Also, you'll notice on those Wilderness extra badging and a few extra body side moldings to protect the body when you do find yourself off-road. Well, with these off-road tires, we're certain to get this thing out in the dirt and the sand and see just how capable this Wilderness edition is. Well, let's start on the inside and see just what comes with this Wilderness package. And once we make our way here on the inside, it's obvious Subaru really intends this Wilderness edition to be used for off-roading. You have all-weather floor mats here that keep you from damaging the carpet in the car. They also have this material here that's water resistant for the seats and all the panels here that you touch. There's a Subaru Wilderness insignia embossed right here into the headrest, and the contrasting stitching in here is interesting and rather nice, I might add. And then as we make our way down here to this center console, these are our controls for our different off-road modes. You have snow and dirt, deep snow and mud, and then for normal, you just switch it back to normal. So it says it's 2 modes, but it's actually 3 when you think about the normal everyday drive mode. As is expected from Subaru, all of your safety features are here, just like all the rest of the Subarus that we drive. You have your eyesight here, just above your rearview mirror. Controls here for things like your cruise control, your lane departure assist, all those features are controlled right here on this steering wheel. It can be a bit busy and maybe even overwhelming at first glance, but after about a week in the car, all of these buttons start to make a lot of sense. And while I don't know if this qualifies as a full panoramic roof, it does add a lot of light here in the front seat as well as in the second row. Speaking of second row, this is a family SUV. Let's go back here and see what the second row is like. So one of the first things I noticed is there's a wide opening here to enter into this second row. Great if you have to have car seats and baby carriers that you have to get in the second row. But if you have older teens, older kids, there's actually good leg room here in the second row and tons of headroom. And even though this panoramic roof doesn't come all the way in the back row, it does add good light here for the second row passengers. Also, in keeping with a family vehicle, you have to have your USB chargers. So we have 2 USB charger ports here. Would like to have seen the new USB-C fast chargers, but they're here nevertheless, as well as AC vents that work well. And then you have multiple seat back pockets that can be configured in different ways to put different things in. Also, you're gonna have to have a place for your cups, cup holder, armrest here if you're not carrying the middle passenger. But if we're talking a family SUV, we have to have good cargo area and we have to have good storage space. Let's check out what's behind the second row and see just how that'll fit into your family lifestyle. One of the first things you have to have for an SUV for a family is you have to have ease of access. Remote, that's covered. So I think it goes without saying, here behind this second row, there's good cargo space for most anything you need to carry, especially for a family of 4, maybe even 5. And another thing that we really like about SUVs that have a cover like this is you want to have a way to hide your things away from prying eyes. Covered here with this removable cargo cover. But on those times when you're going to be carrying odd shaped items and you don't necessarily want the cargo cover here, it's easily removed as well. Spring loaded, so it allows you to get it right out of your way so you can make use of this extra cargo space. And there is a full-size spare here. So if you do find yourself off-road and you lose air pressure and you have to replace the tire, you have a full-size off-road tire that'll get you back to the main road. Like many of us do, we use these for trucks, cargo, everything we need to get from the big box stores and the hardware stores. Well, you need to do that simple here in the Subaru as well. You have 60/40 folding second row seats, and there's a switch here that folds them down out of your way, so it makes for access to all this cargo space. And those seat backs are also covered with that water resistant material. So if you are carrying things, you don't have to worry about damaging the interior. And that is, even if you don't get this cargo cover. There's carpet here, but cargo cover keeps everything protected. And when you're all done, push the one button, either close it or close it and lock it. And you walk away. And we can't review a Subaru without talking about all the technology here on the dash. I mentioned earlier that it can be a bit overwhelming when you look at all these different screens and monitors, but everything has its reason, everything has a function. There's no wasted space in this Subaru Forester. For example, here on the instrument cluster, that little monitor in the middle gives you information about your different X mode drive modes. Here above the infotainment system, that screen doubles as a 180-degree front view monitor. Here you have a touchscreen infotainment system that has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And once you're done playing around with the infotainment system, it also doubles as an information hub. This is where you can go in and you can customize many of the safety features to your liking, as well as some of the drive functions, and have them where they are set just where you want them every time. A lot of things to do here. You can spend a full day just learning how to program and work everything on this infotainment system. Subaru is also known for its safety, like EyeSight driver assist with automatic emergency steering, blind spot detection with rear cross traffic alert. And there's also a feature that alerts the driver to keep their eyes on the road. All those things can be adjusted and set to your preferences right here from the infotainment system. And for those times when the touchscreen doesn't work just how you want it to work, which is inevitable, I don't care what brand you drive, sometimes the light gets in the way, fingerprints gets on the screen, or it's not as responsive if you're not paying attention. One of the other things that we really enjoyed about the Subaru Forester was Subaru gave us alternate ways to make these adjustments. So there are buttons, knobs, switches that allow the driver like myself to go in and make all these changes without having to put your fingers on that touchscreen. I really hate when it gets all greasy with your greasy fingers. This is where things get a little bit dicey for us here on the Subaru Forester. This 2.5 liter 4-cylinder makes 182 horsepower, and Subaru says it can tow up to 1,500 pounds. But it's made it to a CVT transmission that I think the symmetrical all-wheel drive could have been a lot better if we had a standard transmission in this vehicle. Because let's face it, when a vehicle is tough enough to do things like this, it sure would be nice to have a vehicle that felt like it was supposed to be here in a place like this. That's all the time we have this week on the Auto Insider. But for more of what's new, what's hot, and what's not, be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and download the SoundCloud app and listen to all of our reviews in their entirety. Moment of truth. Is this 2022 Subaru Forester Wilderness Edition hot or not? It's hard to call a small SUV with a CVT transmission hot, but for everything that we don't like about it, there's enough about it to love. Its off-road capabilities, on par with anything else in its class. Symmetrical all-wheel drive worked well. You saw it in the sand. Good backseat room. You got USB charging ports. Cargo area just fine. And it doesn't drive badly either. So while we wouldn't call it hot, we would say this is a good contender if you're looking for an off-road capable, mid-size to small SUV for a small, growing family. That's it. I'm Daryl Killian for the Auto Insider.